Hi guys, this is Pooja and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I got a lot of questions around what do I do, how do I read, how do I manage my time, etc, etc. And this is second in the part of series of two Q&A videos. In the first one, I talked about some of the personal questions that everyone had, and this is going to be more about questions related to my reading schedule, how many books I have read, etc. If you are curious to know my answers to the first one, I'm going to link that video in the description box. Feel free to check that out. If not, let's just get into this video because we don't have much time and there are a lot of questions. Okay. Right off the bat, the first question that I'm going to address is how many books have I read so far? So Goodreads tell me that I've read around 350 books, which is a good number in itself. Some years have been better than others. I read like 100 books one year. This year or the last year, like in 2022, I read only like 12 books, which is fine. And I would also like to believe growing up I read so many other books, so many different books that I did not have any way of counting. So let's say like 400 odd books. It's still a small number for me, but also a big number if you look at it that way. The next question is also one of the most asked questions. How do I manage my time? How do I read so many books? And there was another question on the same line. I did not understand if this is the same question, but I'm going to address it at the same go. Do I read a lot of books at the same time? Is that what makes me read a lot of books? To answer that, it all depends on my mood and my space, how much I'm able to dedicate to reading. I always I fake my personality as a reader at times, that I always carry a book with myself even if I'm reading just one page. And I always like to believe that I am constantly reading, not in a slump. I don't put labels like this when I'm not feeling like it, and some days I would feel like it and read a lot of it. I set up some challenges when I'm feeling that I have the time but I'm not making an effort to read as much as I would like to. That helps, and as is with anything, it takes a lot of practice getting the hang of it and not be bored. I'll have an example for this. Imagine you want to get into running, and you also want to enjoy it. You're doing it for your health, you're doing it for other reasons, but you also want to enjoy it. And sometimes you would be bored by the task, by the consistency, by the monotony of having to do it every single day. But even then you make an effort, you track your progress, you make a game out of it. So that is what I do. And second thing is, you need to make some things priority in your life. So if you see yourself spending more time on your phone, you would rather shift it to reading something nice. So you have to make a conscious effort to make sure you do that. A little bit of tips and tricks here and there work. But as I said, fake it till you make it. Fake that you're always a reader, you're into reading, you love it so much. That always helps. And find books and readers, a community of people, books that you like reading. That also helps. And don't be too hard on yourself all the time. So someone said that I love reading fiction and fantasy, but a lot of people only talk about non-fiction recommendation and it's also so looked down upon. What is my stand on it? So I would tell you one thing. If you are from the mindset, I would recommend a book by Neil Gaiman, Art Matters, which truly talks about the power of creativity and art in this world, which is fiction, right? And I understand a lot of people want to get something out of a book or an exercise, which is this whole world of non-fiction is based on. I have recommended a lot of good non-fictions time and again, read them myself, but I felt that fiction is where my heart lies. It has given me the creative power to imagine, and I am a very good visualizer because of it, having read so many books and visualize them in my head, being able to write, read, and it sort of helps you imagine things outside the box and unimaginable things. And would you imagine that I would be able to take a video like this on just my phone 100 years back? No, right? Someone would have written it in a book, and today we see it as a reality. So it's all about ideas being put to paper. And there are also some very heartbreaking stories that are told by means of fiction, so you do not feel as triggered, but you still get the message and feel of it. So that is why I love fiction so much. So please don't worry about it. People can think what they think. I get comments like this all the time: you should read real books. I decide what I want to read. No one else decides that for me. I decide what they bring to my life. No one else does. So that is my stand on it. You do you. Next question is, what is the most underrated genre? This is a genre close to my heart. I feel Indian literature is so underrated. Because it provides so much diverse opinions just in India itself, diverse points of view, and India is socially very challenging and layered, in sense there's always a divide between the modern and the old, and rise of the middle class, societal values, feminism, themes around them, and just a lot of colors, flavors, noises, chaos, everything makes up for like a proper drama. But also there are so many stories that sprout out of this drama, and even like you can find a story in every household. So I feel it is very underrated, and I would like to see more of it being represented in the international world, or in outside the box of just India. The next question says that, why do you think there are so many stories that are about pain, and why are we taught in fiction that suffering or having to suffer and tough lives are the only lives that matter? There was a period in my life when I was reading so many of these books. I got pushed into that vortex and I was able to relate to them. I understand that. But I realized that life does not have to be like that. You do not have to victimize yourself over and over again. And it is not the tough lives that matter. Your goal in life is to make your life easy. It could mean anything for you. And there is no virtue in just feeling like this suffering will lead to something. We are taught that, but real life does not work that way. So more and more I read such books, more and more I the more and more my story is different than a piece of literature, and it's good for entertainment. It's good to understand other people's point of view. It brings a perspective in your life, but it is different from real life. This question is my personal favorite. Someone has asked, how did your reading journey began? Would I like to share that? Of course I would like to share that. As a matter of fact, I keep talking about it all the time. I have always been a reader ever since I was a kid. So my mom and dad would read newspaper every morning, as is the case with every Indian household, and they would have their morning tea, and I would sit near them and they would just hand me a piece of newspaper, and that's how I started reading. I was a very small kid, probably 4 or 5. No, that's like really early. I would say I was in like class first or second, and that's how I started reading. And again, as a kid, I could not afford a lot of books, but my school library was very good and my librarian was very good. I was the one who used to look forward to these library periods, and we could borrow some of these books. So I would ask my friends to borrow more books for me. That is how I cultivated the habit of reading. I used to dream, or it was my aspiration to become a librarian one day, but that has no money, and it does have some money, but like I had other financial goals, so that was never gonna work out. Maybe this is how I am maybe fulfilling my dream of being close to books. as much as possible by being this virtual librarian of some sorts and just propagating the love for reading. So yeah, to answer your question, that is how my reading journey began, and I have been on the bandwagon, off the bandwagon, early teens, in adulthood, because work comes, career goals come, other goals come, and it takes your time, so you don't get as much time to dedicate to reading. But it has always been the case with me that any piece of thing that comes in front of my eyes, that is written piece of anything, I would have the tendency to read it. That is why I don't have subtitles on, because I read them before I watch the scene. It is a problem, but yeah, that's about it. That's how my reading journey started. And this is going to be the last question for today. Someone has asked, how did my bookstagram journey started and what made me go out and make that account? This is a very interesting story, as has been the case for me for other things. I made it out of impulse, and I am a very reactive person. I'm just realizing this now. I'm trying to move away from. But how this happened was, I was finding it really hard to work in. I was having some difficulties at work, and there was a stagnation, and I was wanting for more, a bit of a challenge around that time. And my self-worth, because of my depression, was also at an all-time low. That is when I came across bookstagram accounts. Now when I started, there were a lot of international bookstagram accounts that came to my recommendation, and they were a bit daunting to me because they're very pretty, and where I live, it isn't that pretty. Do I need so many books, so many merds? That's how I lurked around for a few months. Then I came across other Indian bookstagram accounts, and they were not that fancy. They were just talking about their love for reading and writing, and they were reviewing books. So I just made that account on an impulse on a Sunday night. I remember I was alone in my apartment feeling like shit, and I'm like, might as well just do this. And I did that. I wrote my first post, and that's how the journey started. Ever since, this account has evolved to what it is today. I am making a YouTube video. That was 5 years back. I never gave up on it. I kind of found ways to make it more entertaining, quench my, hunger for a challenge in life, creative outlet, everything you can say that, and a means to connect with fellow readers, and now with so many other people trying to tell my story. So that is how I started, and what once was just a small teeny tiny thought in my head has accumulated to this because I consistently worked on it. So I'm very, very grateful and very heartened by having come so far when I look back. But there's a long way to go, is how I believe, how I feel. It was just but an idea, but when you go all the way for it, you would be surprised how far you come. So that is it for today. I hope you guys liked listening to me blabber and answer these questions for you. Maybe we do more of these sessions. If you have questions, you can add in the description box, or I'm going to link my Instagram account. Go there, you can come there, send me a DM, or the next time around I post a story like this, you can hop on and get your questions in. I will see you guys next time. Have a nice day. Bye.